Welcome to Aslan Speaks, episode 25. The 12 Laws of Karma. So I just stumbled upon this, and I did an episode about the universal laws, but there's a universal law called the law of karma, but there's 12 laws that pertain to just the law of karma. And I found this information intriguing, so I wanted to share this with you guys. So what is karma? Well, karma equals action. One can think of karma as the spiritual equivalent of Newton's law of motion. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Let me repeat that. For every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. When we exhibit a negative force in thought, word, or action, that negative energy will come back to us. So that can mean like when we are angry and we attack somebody, let's say someone we care about, and we get angry at them, and maybe it's a romantic relationship, and we attack them verbally and say, yeah, you're ugly, or you say negative things toward them, or you can't do this right, you're a bad partner, blah blah blah. Well, when you attack them out of anger, then the opposite, you're putting energy out there, and then the opposite energy is maybe them, the person you're attacking, maybe the person like your partner or the person you're in a romantic relationship with, their reaction is, their energy is, hey, I'm breaking up with you. For every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. I want to state that, guys, because in life we make decisions or we do things, and sometimes we don't even think about it. We just react. And that reaction, may it be positive or negative, can cause some type of change in your life. So always be mindful of how you react in situations in life. Because if you react in the wrong way, you can cause a lot of harm to your life. Guys, I used to be in a like an on and off again romantic relationship for like over 10 years. And we would get together and everything would be magical and uplifting. And what would happen is over time, she would start pushing my buttons, or I would start pushing her buttons. And then I would get caught up in the emotion or the energy. And I wasn't conscious of my actions. I would just react. And sometimes I would get so upset that I would act out of anger. Or just a lot of it was out of anger. I got so so wound up, so tight, that I just lashed out with my words, and I was never really truly mean. I didn't mean to be mean, but I just got caught up with letting my ego mind or my anger get control of me. And then I would lash out with my words, and then guess what would happen? Yep, it would cause like a breakup or a rift between us. So I'm trying to share this with you guys so that you can be mindful and start training yourselves to make better decisions or react differently to situations, and try to react in more of a positive energy, because positive attracts positivity, negative attracts negativity. So law of karma equals action. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So be mindful of that, my friends. So are you guys ready for this? Are you ready? So here are the 12 laws of karma that everyone should know. Law number 1, the great law of cause and effect. So in the universal laws in my video, I talk about law of karma as a law of cause and effect. So the great law of cause and effect. As you sow, you shall also reap. I just discussed this earlier. So your actions reaps back to you. So what you do may cause things to come back to you, either positive or negative. To receive happiness, peace, love, and friendship, one must be happy, peaceful, loving, and be a true friend. Whatever you put out in the universe will come back to you. Well, that's so simple. You know, whatever you put out in the universe, it comes back to you. So when you're dealing with a, like, let's say a romantic partner, or, you know, one of the things I learned is instead of lashing out in anger, you know, or pushing out, take a breather, take a step back, really analyze everything, and always, you know, like, always act out of love or in a positive state, even if you're hurt, even if you're not the person who caused the damage. Maybe someone else in your life, maybe that romantic partner is the one who pushed you to the boiling point, or is the one who's being the negative Nancy, who's always breaking the rules and is not following, you know, in the righteous footsteps, but is being malice in some type of way. You always have to be the bigger person. When you walk this spiritual path, you got to learn to always be the bigger person, and that's really hard to do. Trust me, guys, it's super hard to be the big person and always to turn the other cheek. And there's situations where you do turn the other cheek, but there's also situations where you don't. Because that's what I want to share with you is sometimes walking the spiritual path, you have to keep your feet planted firmly on the ground, and you know, if you're I don't even know how to say it. You know, sometimes you have to be firm in your beliefs or your ideas and to not waver from it, because you get attacked on this path. But the simplest thing is law number one, the law of cause and effect. Whatever you put out in the universe, it will come back to you. So be mindful of what you guys do. Be mindful of your actions. Be mindful how you speak to people. It's very important. Law number 2. You ready for this one? Law of creation. Life requires our participation to happen. It does not happen by itself. When we are one, yes, when we are one with the universe, both inside and out. We're one with the universe, both inside and out. So the universe is inside of us. It's outside of us and inside of us. Whatever surrounds us gives us clues to our inner state. Surround yourself with what you want to have in your life. Be yourself, and just be yourself. Be authentic. So whatever surrounds us gives us clues to our inner state. So what does that really mean is, look around you. Reflect on your life. What environment you hang out with. What friends you hang out with. That is an inner reflection of your inner state. If you're out partying and in dark, dim clubs and doing drugs and, you know, possibly getting in bar fights or being negative and constantly chasing that drug or alcohol to numb you inside, and hang around people who do not uplift you and support you, that is a state of your inner state. What you surround yourself is a reflection of your inner state. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you depressed? Are you filled with anxiety? Do you feel whole and complete in your life? Have you achieved all your goals and dreams? These are crucial things when you reflect on your inside as to awaken your spiritual nature inside you. You gotta figure this out. You know, sometimes it's painful to look at that. You know, surround yourself with, you know, like if you're take a reflect on your life and you're like, wow, the people I hang out with are awesome, and they always inspire me to be my greatest version of myself, and they always choose to do activities that are healthy and uplifting for me. That is your state of your inner state. The law you created because the law number 2 is the law of creation. You created, in a sense, by your thoughts, actions, and deeds, your life, you know, in essence. So the people you surround yourself, you created that in a way by making the choice to hang out with whoever you're hanging out with. You know, whatever environment you're in, may be positive or negative, you made that choice to be in that environment. So you created that in a way into your life. So be mindful of your creations, my friend. You are the participant. You're the one who making that, through your thoughts, actions, and deeds, are creating that reality for yourself. But the coolest thing is you could choose through your power of thought to change whatever you create at any time. So, ready? Law number 3. The law of humility. One must accept something in order to change it. So one must accept something in order to change it. If all one sees is an enemy or a negative character trait, then they are not and cannot be focused on a higher level of existence. So you gotta be humble with yourself, humility. You gotta hey, I see this trait in myself. You gotta learn, hey, that's me. I created that beast, that monster. And you gotta learn you cannot fix it if you're not focused on reaching a higher state. If you're always choosing hey, that monster is me getting drunk 4 or 5 times a week, or that monster is you blowing your paycheck every week and you're barely making it, and you're creating those habits in your life. To create a higher existence, you got to be, humble yourself and be like, hey, and look at yourself, reflect on yourself, and be like, hey, I created this. I with humility and love and accept that part and try to change it. You cannot accept something you got to first accept something in order to change it. So if you're always denying that or putting blame on your negative habit in your life that's causing you so much grief and depression, and you're blaming it on others. I drink because my parents didn't do this for me growing up. I drink because I had bad relationships. I get drunk because I'm always lonely. You're putting the blame or the negativity on something outside yourself, where you got to look within yourself and be like, hey, I drink because I'm numbing my own pain, or whatever the case is. Stop making excuses for yourself and try to change it. Try to reach a higher state of existence. Law number 4, the law of growth. Wherever you go, yes, wherever you go, there you are. It is we who must change and not the people. So it's you who has to change, not the people outside you. Places, things around us. If you want to grow spiritually. So let me ask this. Do you want to grow spiritually? Like I stated earlier, it is we who must look in ourselves. We must learn to grow. We can't be like, I'm not going to grow until this person grows, or the places and things around us grow or change. You have to be the one to be willing to make that change. We are all given all we are given is ourselves. That is the only thing that we have control over. The only thing we have control over is us, our body, our mind, our thoughts, the way we think, our actions. We have control over that. We don't have control over people. And so often we for example, we stay in relationships and we're like, oh, I'm unhappy with this relationship, but yet I love him, but I'm so unhappy with how he or she is behaving. And then you wait for them to change. But yet you're still stuck in that route, because in the end, most people don't change. And you try to change them, and what it does is it causes them to push farther and farther away from you. You have to change yourself. You have the power only over yourself. Remember that. So when we change who and what we are within our hearts, our lives follow suit and change too. So when you change your inner beingness through your heart and soul, when you start changing that, everything else follows. Guys, my life was, I talk about this throughout my videos. Dude, if I went in detail about my life, it would shock you guys, the man I was 10 years ago. You'd be like, no way is this person, Aslan, is a spiritual person. No way. If I told you the real truth, and maybe one day I'll come out and tell all about my life. But I used to be such a different person. Yes, when I was growing up, I was Christian and I was spiritual, but I was wearing masks. Around certain people, I was a spiritual Christian. Around other people, I was like a gangster in a way, and I used to get in a lot of fights. I used to smoke marijuana and drink a lot. Go out every weekend and party. Go out to the bars. I had a crazy life. And I learned, and over the years, I chose to change my heart, my soul, and embrace the spiritual path. And I realized that my past actions, thoughts, deeds, and some of the negative people I hung out with were suppressing me from my ultimate growth. I wasn't growing, I wasn't evolving, and I was staying dormant as that person, the person I once was. And then I made a decision. I was like, you know what? I choose the spiritual path. I choose to listen to my soul. I choose to listen to my heart. and my life started changing drastically, and for the positivity. I started removing all that negativity, all those negative actions or behaviors out of my life, and I started having such an amazing more life experiences. You know, I started bringing positive experience because you attract what you resonate inward. So when I started changing my inward, my inner, you know, like changing my heart, my thoughts, my deeds, and I started changing my vibrational frequency to just pure positivity and love, I started attracting positivity and love. So you gotta grow, my friends. When we change who and what we are within our hearts, our lives follow suit and change too. That's the law of growth, my friends. So change who you are by changing what's inside you first. And know that you can't change other people or other situations or other people. It's you. You only have control of yourself. Law number 5. The law of responsibility. This is one of the hardest things growing, you know, learning to walk the spiritual path and awakening is learning to take responsibility for your own actions. If there's something wrong in one's life, there is something wrong in them. We mirror what surrounds us. Let me repeat that. We mirror what surrounds us. And what surrounds us mirrors us. This is a universal truth. One must take responsibility for what is in one's own life. So earlier I talked about the law of creation. This is similar. Is that we got to take responsibility. The people, like, if we're constantly surrounded by negativity or people that are encouraging us to do bad habits, then we got to take that responsibility and say, hey, I chose these people. I chose to hang out with the people who chose to feed me alcohol. And so they encouraged me to drink just like them 5 days a week. And I'm not bashing up anybody who drinks alcohol or parties or does drugs. Guys, I used to party and do drugs. You know, I'm not perfect either. But I chose to change my way. And everything's good in moderation. I still drink, but in moderation, once every couple weeks, if that. You know, as I grow more spiritual, I choose to stay away from that. I don't like taking substances that change my consciousness. I like my consciousness to be at a high vibration. But, so I stated, you got to take responsibility. So whenever you surround yourself, well, if you're in let's say you're barely making ends meet, you know. So I'll use an example from my life. When I was younger, I lived in an apartment and I barely could pay the rent. And I had my bedroom it was a 2-bedroom apartment. I had a roommate, and my room was like a 6x10 room. It was very tiny. I could barely fit. I had a mattress in there, a TV, and a bed, and I could barely move. And at that time I could barely eat. I used to have to eat, like, once, for example, one time all I had was spaghetti noodles and ketchup. So that's what I made. I boiled the noodles and I put ketchup sauce on it, and that's what I ate. Or sometimes I just had bread and mustard. That's how poor I was. There was times where I couldn't even eat. I just drank water. And in that environment, the money that I was making, I was smoking a lot of pot. So all my extra money, like, I was buying pot every couple days. And that was my decision to do that. And then why I wasn't eating, why I could barely make rent, because I was so busy chasing that high, buying pot. You know, so I have to learn to take responsibility that in this place, you know, at some point you got to realize, why am I not successful? Why am I barely eating? Why am I'm barely able to pay the rent? Why was I so unhappy living in this apartment? It's because I allowed myself to be in that environment. And let's just say that environment wasn't always positive. And you have to look at your life and take responsibility and say, hey, I put myself here, but now I'm taking responsibility and I'm choosing a different thought or action or deed to get me out of what I'm not happy with. So take responsibility. So many people do not take responsibility in their life. They blame all this, and I'm this way because of my parents, or because they did this to me, or blah blah blah. Blame, blame, blame. You have to take responsibility. Even, you know, that's one of the hardest things. But you're on the right path, and you know you're on the spiritual path when you start looking at yourself and you're like, you know what? I got to take responsibility for my actions, for the wrongs that I've done to others. You know, and then you start changing that. So you choose not to do wrongs or cause wrongs to others anymore. Law number 6, the law of connection. The smallest or seemingly least important of things must be done because everything in the universe is connected. Let me repeat that. Everything in the universe is connected. We are all one, my friends. Each step leads to the next step, and so forth and so on. Someone must do the initial work to get a job done. Neither the first step nor the last are of the greater significance. They are both needed to accomplish the task. Past, present, future, we're all connected. So we're all connected. And so I'll use this example. The romantic partner that I discussed earlier, as growing up, awakening the spiritual path, yeah, there was a lot of like positivity and love and everything. And there's also negativity where I would lash out or she would lash out at me and push each other away. But what I tie this in, that the past, all that happened, like some of that, like when I reflect on it with my spiritual eye or my spiritual heart, it was because it was the catalyst, one of the catalysts in my life to propel me or push me to becoming a more awakened human being. I would have never realized my truest potential or known, or fixed myself if I didn't actually had her in my life to have me reflect on those parts of my memories in my life or those moments of my life, and realizing that every moment, past, future, everything's connected, and that maybe she came into my life for a reason, and maybe I came into her life for a reason, and maybe it wasn't to be romantically involved. Maybe it was just to be the catalysts in each other's lives to push each other to become the greatest versions of ourselves. Because trust me, guys, she drove me to be the best version of myself. And yeah, sometimes I fumbled and stumbled. But look at over now, I've become so much more now. And it was because she was the catalyst. Yes, I'm responsible for my actions and deeds. And then I made poor decisions. But at the same time, her involvement in my life, her that helped push me to look and reflect on myself, to change myself. So we're all connected. Certain people come into your life for a reason. Certain people leave your life for a reason. We're all one in a sense. We're all energy and we're all part of that divine. Law number 7, the law of focus. One cannot think of two things at the same time. If our focus is on spiritual values, it is not possible for us to have lower thoughts like greed or anger. So this law of focus is basically your consciousness level. If you're focused on higher consciousness of spiritual truths and spiritual awakening, then you're not in a lower consciousness state or lower vibrational frequency state, but you can only focus on one thing. If you're focused on drinking, partying, having sex, going out to clubs, watching horror films and stuff, and being in your lower nature, being in a lower vibrational state, then you won't attain a higher vibrational state because your focus is on a lower vibrational state, or your focus is on lower consciousness. So if you want to get past all that, you got to put your focus on spiritual truth, enlightenment, being a higher conscious being. And when you put your focus on being a higher conscious being, then all that lower nature stuff fades away. So beware of what you put your focus on. It's all about consciousness, my friends. Law 8, the law of giving and hospitality. It's one of my favorite ones, guys, because walking the spiritual path or learning to awaken, you got to learn to give to others. Because giving to others, you're actually giving to yourself. If one believes something is to be true, then sometimes in their life they will be called upon to demonstrate that truth. Here's where one puts what they claim to have learned into practice. So basically, the law of giving is stay, you know, like for me, how I give is speaking my truth that I've learned through the Path Awakening is giving back to you guys through these videos, through my YouTube channel, or through my Instagram, or through my books. I give out knowledge and insight, you know, about, you know, of everything that I've learned walking this path. Now, maybe I might have things wrong. I'm still learning, but maybe I have some things right, because whenever I speak or whatever I say, it might resonate to you. You know, so the law 8 is the law of giving and hospitality. You know, so it's give to others because you are given to yourself. Law 9, the law of here and now. One cannot be in the here and now if they are looking backward to examine what was, or forward to worry about the future. So one cannot be here now. You cannot be in the present moment if you're constantly worrying about the past or future. I think past is depression and future is anxiety. Let me repeat that. So if you're dwelling on the past, it leads to depression, and if you're dwelling on the future, it leads to anxiety. But to eliminate depression and anxiety is to be in the here and now. Because time is an illusion. There is no such thing as the past, future. Everything is now. You know, like even your past and even your future is now. So even by you changing your behavior now and changing you're actually changing your past or even your future. Because time is illusion. It's illusion, guys. And when you walk the path of the light, you start learning like so much information that you didn't know. It blows your mind. Old thoughts, old patterns, or old patterns of behavior and old dreams prevent us from having new ones. So if you're constantly dwelling on the past, if you're constantly dwelling on that past relationship, how are you going to move forward in your life or find a good romantic, loving relationship if you're constantly daydreaming and thinking about the one that got away, so to speak? Or if you're too much in the future and you're putting your, you know, like, hey, this is my dream girl or dream guy, and this is all my expectations, and you're just putting all this, how, you know, you're setting so much expectations that the person you meet might not meet up to your level of expectations because you're daydreaming so much about them in the future. You must live in the moment. Law 11. Oh, I messed it up. Actually, this is Law 10. The law of change. History repeats itself until we learn the lessons that we need to change our path. So we'll constantly repeat certain situations, certain behaviors in our path until we learn that lesson, and then we decide to change. Like I talk about this romantic relationship, this person that kept entering into my life. And, you know, upon reflecting, one of the lessons that kept repeating itself until I actually learned it was, or at least I try to learn it or instill it into my being, was unconditional love. And to love somebody without putting expectations on the relationship. And for one, that was so hard because I loved the crap out of this person. And what would happen is I would put expectations like, oh, you have to go out with me, or you have to do this, or blah, 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 blah. And I would always put all this weight on her shoulders, which drove her away. But what I had to learn was, if I truly love this person, then I do not put expectations on love. I give my love to her without strings attached. Well, that was one of the lessons that I had to learn over and over again, because I would say I loved her and act lovingly, but then 2 months, 6 months down the road, I would throw all this weight, like, or I would just stop talking because she wouldn't give into what I want, so I would just ignore her for a while, or whatever the case may be. But one of the lessons I repeated was the unconditional love. And I believe, you know, reflecting, that was one of the lessons she had to learn, is to love me without expectations, because she also put expectations on me that I had to behave or say or do certain things to keep her in my life. And so it's a tick for tack thing. But the lesson that I learned was, hey, I love you no matter what, without strings attached, unconditionally. Even right now, she's in another relationship, I still love her. You know, and not out like, you know, like with hopes of getting back with her. I'm happy that she's happy. And that's all I care for. Well, that's one of the lessons I had to learn. So you got to learn your life lessons. And then once you actually like learn them and like instill them into your core, then you can change that. So the law of change. Learn your lessons in life so that you can change and grow to become a better version of you. Now here's the law 11. The law of patience and reward. So in life, a lot of humans are not patient at all. We want instant, because especially in our society where we could go to the drive-thru and have instant food, or go to the store and have it instantly. To walk the spiritual path, and you gotta learn to be patient with others and to be patient with yourself. The law of patience and reward. All rewards require initial toll. Rewards of lasting value require patience and persistence, and a persistence toll. True joy comes from doing what one is supposed to be doing, and knowing that the reward will come to you in its own time. Guys, like, look, my joy is to share wisdom and knowledge with people, and I just have the patience that I will be successful. And even if right now I'm successful, even if it's a small fraction of success, I'm already successful. If I help a one person, then I'm successful. And then I know that maybe one day I'll be able to help thousands. I gotta be patient and truly live what makes me joyful, and the reward will present itself at some point. Wow, this whole video is kind of powerful, guys, when I'm thinking about it. And so be patient, my friends, and the reward will treat itself. You know, the reward will come to you. The reason sometimes when we're impatient and we react, we sometimes cause that reward or whatever to go away. Or instead of being like, for example, like in a romantic relationship again. If you just be patient with that person and not try to force your ideas and beliefs or try to change them, over time, maybe the reward of being patient with them that relationship will blossom into a more loving, positive, amazing twin flame or soulmate connection. You know, but the opposite of that is if you're not patient and you keep putting or forcing your own ideas and beliefs onto that person, or your own expectations, like you have to do such and such, take these steps, or otherwise I'm not going to be with you. You're not being patient with that person. Everybody has their own timing to grow. Some grow faster than others. And you can't force others to change or grow. You have to let them walk their path on their own. But you can be an example, walk your path, and you can show how much you changed and grown. And you can be an example so that they can see that. They can see that your growth. Instead of you forcing your ideas or beliefs or ideas, be an example. That's what I try to do. I try to speak my truth and live by my truth and be an example. So when the people who hang out with me or hear how I talk and behave, then they can say, hey, Aslan speaks his truth and lives his truth. I want to be more like him. Because he changed, I know that I have the power to change. Law 12. The law of significance and inspiration. One gets back from something whatever they put into it. The true value of something is a direct result of the energy and intent that is put into it. Every personal contribution is also a contribution to the whole. Lesser contributions have no impact on the whole, nor do they work to diminish it. Loving contributions brings life and to inspire the whole. So, like, this is basically what inspires you guys. What drives you? What do you put out in the universe? What energy level do you put out? You know, for me, my contribution, even if it's a lesser one, is this video. It's shared knowledge to help others expand their awareness and consciousness. Just overall have a better life. I want you guys to have a better life. I don't want people always being sad. I don't want people always being depressed or always being lonely or in their lower state of consciousness. I want to share with you to empower you to become the best, greatest versions of yourselves, to walk the path of spirituality, to walk the path of light and love, to walk the path of enlightenment, to become your greatest selves. Because when you become your greatest selves, you're setting an example for others, and then others become their greatest selves. When you share your light with the world, then others see that light and then let their inner light shine. So be an inspiration to others. Karma. So this is the 12 laws of karma. But karma is a lifestyle that promotes positive thinking and action. Some people, when they hear the word karma, they're like, oh, that's negative. But karma basically is a cause and effect. It's how you react. You can make it positive and you can make it negative. Karma is not meant to be a punishment. It is present for the sake of education. How else is someone to learn how to be a good person if they are never taught that harmful actions is wrong? A person only suffers if they have created the conditioning for suffering. So what that means is you only suffer in your life in a way because you created that suffering. You attracted that suffering. I talk about this in my other videos, that your thoughts create your reality. Your thoughts, actions, and deed create that. So in a way, when you're suffering, when you're in your room alone at night, crying, bawling your eyes out, and you're like, why is my life like this? Why am I not in a perfect? Why did I drive away my romantic partner? Why am I not making enough money? Why am I always drunk or addicted to something? Whatever the case may be in your own reflection. Because in a way, you created that turmoil in your life. And that's the law of karma, cause and effect. But the coolest thing is this cause and effect, for every action, there's an equal greater reaction. You could change your life by changing your thinking, by changing the actions and deeds in your life, the things that you do. And by doing that, you change your life drastically. One of the keys is for my life is I started removing anything that was negative, like anything that caused depression or anxiety in me. I removed it. When I would reflect on my inner memories or like thoughts, any like deeds or actions that I used to do that would cause like anxiety or make me sad or depressed, I removed it. Anything that was basically negative to me, that made me vibrate a lower vibrational frequency, I tried changing that or removing that aspect of myself, and I embraced it by cause and effect. I chose to be positive. I chose to think positive thoughts. I chose to do positive deeds. I also chose how I reacted to people in a positive manner, to speak to somebody in a positive manner, even if they were negative to me. I chose to react out of love and kindness and respect. And by doing so, cause and effect. Positivity attracts more positivity, my friends. Change your thinking, change your life. Change your actions, change your life. I hope this video was helpful, guys. I know I went on a tangent there, and I make really long videos, and this one I was trying to make a quick, short, brief one, but I guess you can't, say really. It's hard to speak the truth in like 10 minutes. It takes a minute or so to actually. It takes a while to actually speak the truth, you guys. And I wish and hope you guys the best, and I hope you like this video. And if you found this video helpful, please share. Please share with others. My mission is to help others, and you can help me by. So hopefully you found this video informative. Like and subscribe. Thank you. God bless you.